Well, if you live in an area of wildfires, you know the importance of being prepared if you have to leave in a hurry. The same goes if you live near a wash where it could suddenly flood. And what if the power goes out for several days? You get the idea. So does survivalist Brawdy, and he joins us this morning. Hi, Brian. Thank you so much for being with us.
Emma, my pleasure. It's kind of hard to follow the weather, though. Where I'm coming to you from, today's high is 26, and I hear, oh, you might not want to hike today if it's 80. Oh, if that would be the case, right? That's a hard act to follow.
We're a little spoiled here in Arizona, so thank you for joining us. You say there is an art to being prepared. What do you mean by that?
Well, all survival, when you stop and think about it, is we're just survivalists, as you mentioned. We're great storytellers. We picture catastrophes in advance. We wonder about worst case scenarios, Emma, and then we figure out, what do I have to do to get myself and my family out of that worst case scenario? So it's a little bit temperament, a little bit technology, but it's having a plan in advance, because when that impromptu hits, when you're neck deep in the middle of it'll never happen to me, that's not the time to want to come up with a plan.
And so thankfully here in Arizona, we don't deal with tornadoes, earthquakes, but we have monsoon season. The power can go out. You could deal with a house fire. What are some things people should have in the home ready to go if there is an emergency?
Well, that's a great question, because if you have one in your home, if you have one in your vehicle, I have a quake kit, and I personalize the kit so that it's unique to not only the area that I might be traveling to, Emma, but exactly what it is that I could be confronted with. And I know that you're going to laugh when I say this to you, Emma, but as a father of 5, the first thing I have to do in any emergency situation is make sure that the kids, I kind of bribe them, right, with their favorite candies and snacks and everything else, because I don't want them to be panicked. Because if I'm turning around, Emma, constantly worrying to make sure they're okay, they're not too stressed, I can't face whatever the catastrophe is we might be facing. So I always say, get a kit. Have one for your vehicle, have one for the house. I have a packet full of candies and raisins. I've got crayons for them so that they can draw and carry on. And of course, if you're going to personalize a kit, if you have animals, you want to make sure you have some dog food or some cat food, usually good to last about 24 hours. And then family medication. So if you're in an emergency situation and you can't get over to the pharmacy, you have the medication that you want to help families. That would be a part of both the temperament and the technology.
And in that situation, I'm sure it can be just very nerve-wracking and stressful. What are some ways to prepare to remain calm in that situation where you might need to leave and get out?
Well, that's a great question. And the thing about the panic situation, it comes from our own brain, right? Emma, you know, the fight, flight, or freeze in place scenario. That's all because our brain's amygdala starts broadcasting and surround sound going, danger, 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 danger. And then we have to figure out how to contemplate whatever that incoming threat is. So to have a good crash kit, to familiarize yourself with it, to make sure that you have a plan, and even though it's quake kits, it can be good for, as you said, washouts or wildfires or the like. Make sure you have a kit. Make sure everyone in your family knows how to use that kit. Like, for example, I'll take out something that I have a headlamp, and all the kids, all my children know how the headlamp works. Let's say, Emma, heaven forbid, you and I are involved in the emergency. We can't rely on our kids unless we've taught them in advance what it is to do. So I like to have some gear that they can practice with. If you're in a vehicle and you're bugging out, you need the most basic things, the things that you and I take for granted every day. We need them: jumper cables, some way to signal in your car if you hurt. I'll put a whole list of this on quakekits.com/ready. Just in case I haven't thought of it, Emma. What if other people do, then they can personalize their kit as well.
All right. Great advice. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Brian.
My pleasure. Thank you. Enjoy the weather.
Thank you. We will.
I know. Think of me. It'll be 20 degrees and I'll be thinking of you all hiking around in the 80s. How do you get through life?
Thanks, Brian.
I know.